My self-worth and value and football were inextricably linked. So when that was taken away, I just thought I had nothing to offer the world, and I tried to kill myself. In that period, post-op, you know, I was drinking heavily because I was pretty much housebound and went into the club once or twice a week for a couple of hours to get a check over. And I used to use a company called Crate, who used to bring beer and wine round to me, and I'd get battered in the house. You know, it didn't help my state of mind.
Well, that was to numb the misery. And,
you know, it was like self-medicating, so I didn't have to deal with the emotions and and what was going through my head. And I got to that point where I was like, right, I'm no use to anyone. So I hobbled down to the local park with my Coproximol, prescription strength painkillers, as close to morphine as I could get, which was brilliant, by the way. Other drugs are available.
A few steps up from an aspirin, then, we're talking.
Yeah. Sat on the park and popped all 56 of these pills. And
56?
Yeah, washed them down with a can of beer. And at the time, you know, I'll go through it in depth. It was so hard to talk about because I've locked this incident in Pandora's box for many years since. And nothing actually... I was almost expecting something to happen immediately, really dramatic, but it didn't. So I just hobbled back to the flat, and then, fortunately for me, my fiancée at the time came home, like, unexpectedly from work, and she found me and dragged me off to the hospital.
And did you tell her you'd taken the pills?
No,
or were you
not for a long
collapsing
time. Not for a long time, and it's all incredibly hazy. Yeah, it was... I shouldn't be here. No. I shouldn't. Even when I got to the hospital some 7 or 8 hours later, and they pumped my stomach, which I didn't let them do at first. My father-in-law to be, or my fiance's father, he took some kind of power of attorney because they kept having to... They asked me, can we pump your stomach? And I was like, no. Can we pump your stomach? No. And then he got to the hospital and just said, will you let me make this decision for you, son? I was like, OK. And so they did. And they took out like some 50-odd whole Coproximol. And they can't explain why they weren't, they hadn't been digested, and I am still here.
It's difficult still to talk about it, isn't it?
Of course it is. Yeah, it's...
What a lucky man.
You know, it's horrible to think that something can take control of your thoughts so much that make you lose sight of the greater perspective. And going back to my suicide attempt site that I did in the documentary. It's one of the most emotional days I've ever encountered in my life. But equally, it was one of the most liberating, because when I stood there and I did feel the emotion and I capitulated, melted, but when I was thinking about it and taking it on, you know, it made me appreciate the 12 years that I'd subsequently had. You know, I'd then met who is now my wife, and had 2 more children to the daughter that I had at the time, the relationship that I've nurtured with my daughter at the time, and all my experiences in life. And now hopefully I can use them to ward others away from going down that same path.
It's an extraordinary story, because it wasn't just some it's the determination that you didn't just do it once on a whim. You said, no, 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 don't pump my stomach.
Yeah.
That's the scary bit. You really were at the edge.
I was there, and it's not even so much as, oh, it's an easy way out. It was the solution. I'd rationalised that everyone would be better without me there, that my daughter would be richer because of the you know, insurance and will payments, and that meant that she'd be fine with her mum, that my parents, they had no need to be proud of me anymore because I weren't a footballer, that my fiancée at the time would meet someone else who might treat her better. You know, it was like, yes, everyone will be better without me. And that's how illogical and irrational my thoughts were in this depression.